right, so in this video, we're going to learn about some more math controls. We're also going to learn how to use comments to just kind of give us an idea of what we're doing and help scaffold the project, basically. First thing we got to do, though, is we got to go File, Save As. This is in that same lecture folder. I'm just going to call this line.py. Py, because obviously it needs to know that it's we're doing a Python file. Okay, so first thing I said we're going to do is learn about comments. If you look right above the 3, there's a hashtag, #, a tic-tac-toe board, whatever you want to call it. We're going to need 2 of them. So this is how you comment your code. And the reason why we're going to comment our code is twofold. Twofold is a fancy way of saying there's 2 things that it's going to help us out with. The first one is, if you're coding on Friday, by the time Monday comes around, you're going to be a little confused by what you have sometimes. As our projects get more complex, you could look entire pages of code and be like, yeah, I have no idea what any of this does, right? So comments are little notes that you leave yourself just to kind of give you a, an idea, a refresher of what this section of the code is actually doing. The second thing is, when you're encountering a really difficult problem, like if I said, what I want you to do is I want you to make all of Monopoly. You would say, okay, that seems really hard and intimidating. But if you break it down to all the different little aspects of it, it becomes a much easier thing. If you just focus on, I need to create a way to roll dice. That's one smaller problem that you can solve. So that's what we're going to do in this one. We're going to find the equation of the line. If the user gives us 2 points, we're going to be able to find the equation of the line. And so I'm going to come up with the steps, and we're going to do the steps individually. So the first step is get the info from the users. Those are the X's and Y's, right? Okay. The second thing that we need to do is, if I want to find the equation of a line, if I have 2 points, the 2 things I'm going to need is I'm going to need the slope and I'm going to need the y-intercept. So I'm going to calculate the slope first off. And the third thing I'm going to be doing, 2 of those, 3 of those, okay, boom, boom. I'm going to calculate the y-intercept. Last but not least, I'm going to display the result for the user. Okay? So those are the 4 basic steps. And it's how we would start every single project. Okay. Well, the first one we should be equipped to do before we even begin, get the info from the user. So if I say, I need to get the 2 points, right? So the first one's going to be x1 and y1, right? Okay. X1 is going to be the input of what is the first X value. Okay. By now you should be screaming into your headphones because you wouldn't really scream into your headphones. But you should see I made a mistake beyond just misspelling value. If I say input and I say 9 is my first X value, this is going to have a major issue. The major issue is we want it to behave like a number, and the computer won't know that, right? So remember, every time we want to get numbers from a user, I either need to use int and say we're going to take all the integers. Look, they even give an entire, and if I say float, in this case I want to use float because I want decimals. If they say 3.5 is my first X value, my first point's X value, I want that to be okay. I mean, 3.5 as an X value totally exists, so I want to accept decimals. How inclusive of me. Okay, now what I don't want to do is sit and type all day. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go like this. Jeez, aren't I so clever? Okay, I guess here I have to do a little bit of typing. Second and second. So now I have the X and Y values. Let's go over the board and see what we need to do for the slopes now. So I'm going to just create a sample one with numbers that I know will work. So I know that the answer to this problem should be y equals, let's do 2x plus 7. So 2 points that I know would be on that line are 1, 9, and 3, 13, right? So this would be my x1, this would be my y1, this is my x2, this is my y2. It's a good idea to start with the test case that you know. Ugh, that 2 is rough. Good idea to start with the test case you know. That way, when you get your outputs, if it matches reality, then it matches reality. If it doesn't, then you screwed up. Okay, so if I was in math class and I didn't know what this is like the secret information that I want to assume. If I was just given these points, 1, 9, and 3, 13, and I wanted to find the slope there, I would use the equation. I guess I'll just write the whole thing out here. Slope is going to be this, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In this case, in this particular case, that is going to give me 13 minus 9 over 3 minus 1, which in this very particular case will just give me 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So I have a slope of 2, which I already kind of knew, right? The thing about coding, though, is I don't really care about particular cases. So this entire section of code, or I guess paper, this is all a very specific case. This right here is the general case, and I like the general case, right? So I'm gonna steal that and go back to my code. So if I want to find slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's roll. Calculate the slope. Slope, my good friend, is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to plug in those numbers that we thought would work all good for us. Oh, did I not put spaces here? Oh boy, gotta get spaces here, because otherwise it'll bug you real good, or at least it'll bug me. So now, when I run it, cool, I'm a little off that question mark, just makes life better. So I said I knew that 1, 9, and 3, 13 would give me this, this slope. I also want to, I'm also going to print the slope so I can check it. Okay, my first x value, I said what? Was I knew that 1, 9 should be on there, and 3, 13 should be on there. Now that gave me a slope of 9, so what the heck happened there? What happened there was I did a very, very bad job of order of operations. If you look at this, all I did was I did y1. It's following order of operations, right? In that way, it's pretty clever, but it can't guess at what you're thinking, right? It divided y1 by x2 is the very first thing, because PEMDAS tells you division way before addition and subtraction, right? So I want to just put a couple of quotation marks there. And I'm going to say I want 1, 9, right, and 3, 13. And it should print off a slope of 2. And we nailed it. Gosh, we're so good. That's why you check your code as you go, right? Because if you make one little mistake like that and you try to address it at the very end of the problem, it could be any one of 15 steps. But now we know exactly what step basically failed us, betrayed us. All right. Let's talk about the Y-intercept real quick. So the Y-intercept. So if I was running through this problem, erase, and I just figured out that the slope was 2, right? Remember, all this information is secret. I have these 2 points. I just figured out that the slope is 2. I get y equals 2x plus, now what I don't know is that b value. I need to find the y-intercept. So if I want to find the y-intercept here, what I would do if I was taking an algebra test is I would plug in that for x, and I would plug in this for y, and I would get 9 equals 2 times 1 plus b. Well, that means 9 equals 2 plus b. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, and I figure out that b is 7. I mean, we already knew that because we knew we came up with a problem that we're specifically testing. But that's how you figure out the b value. But remember, this is the specific case. I don't very much care for this, the specific case, right? I want to figure out the general case. How would I solve for any b value? So let's go back to here, right? what I said was I wanted to plug in my x and y here. So I'm just going to call this one y1 and x1. And instead of 2, I want that one just to be my slope. So if I want to solve for b, I basically just need to get b all by itself. So I'm just going to subtract whatever this value is from both sides, which is slope times x. So if I do that from both sides, I get the equation y1 minus my slope times x1. That is going to be equal to my v value. So I'm going to take this as the general example, and that's what I'm going to code up, because I don't want to code each specific case. It'll just take too long and give me a headache. So let's do that. I just calculated the y-intercept. So the b value basically, or I guess I could say like y-intercept like this, is equal to whatever my y1 value is minus my slope multiplied by x1. Now, if all goes according to plan, and I'm not saying it will, I should be done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the equation of your line is y equals x plus b. Dot format. And what I'm going to plug in there is the first little curly bracket thing is the slope. The second one is the y-intercept is what I called it. Control S. All right, let's run it. So if I put in those ones, it should work, right? 1, 9, 3, 13. So this should say y equals 2x plus 7. And it does. Perfect. Awesome. It's good to do good.